Out of all the announcements from Nintendo's E3 2018 showcase, all three of them, nothing excites me more than Fire Emblem Three Houses. Going into E3, my only hope for the Direct was a Fire Emblem Switch trailer. And what do you know, Nintendo delivered, albeit with a short trailer. With that reveal alone, I can honestly say E3 2018 was great. But what about all the other Nintendo games they didn't show? No, we don't talk about those. Three Houses is the only game that matters for the next 25 minutes. However, despite fulfilling my Fire Emblem Switch reveal dreams, we still know very little about Three Houses. Sure, we kinda know the basic premise, but this trailer teases so many changes, plot points, gameplay mechanics, that I'm not satisfied with just a premise. I can't be satisfied! To curb my hunger for more Fire Emblem, let's go ahead and take our first ever trailer deep dive, where we try to uncover hidden secrets, theorize about potential plot devices, and try to tide us over until the next trailer drops. That said, instead of going through the trailer together, combing through all the minor details, I've done the dirty work beforehand, so we can focus on the good stuff. Get your diving gear ready, we're going deep. According to the Three Houses fact sheet, there are three main characters named Edelgard von Hrasfelger, Dmitri Alexander Bladad, and Claude von Regen. You notice all three are wearing similar uniforms. Black clothing with red, blue, or yellow underneath, a cloak matching that color, and identical pendants. Are they part of the same group? Well, based on their attire and what we can see on the map, we can more or less piece together what these uniforms mean. On the map, we see three kingdoms or regions, each with their own banner. Adrastia with a red banner, Fergus with a blue banner, and Leicester with its yellow banner. Red, blue, and yellow. That's funny, those are the same colors the main characters are wearing. What a weird coincidence. I think it's safe to say the color of the robe symbolizes what nation they are from. To support this further, you can see the three last names on the map in the corresponding kingdom. Hrasfelger in Adrastia, Bladad in Fergus, and Regen in Leicester. Well, also, Edelgard has the Adrastia banner above her sprite in the battle menu. Could these houses potentially be the three houses referred to in the title? It would make sense since these three are the main characters of the game. Maybe the families are warring with each other and these three are part of an alliance to stop the fighting. But I'm not sold on that alliance idea quite yet. Next to these names we see three symbols. Symbols that in theory play important roles in the plot. A flowering bud or leaf, a snowflake or spark, and a crescent moon. Interestingly, the Japanese name for Three Houses is Huka Setsugetsu, which basically means the four seasons. The kanji are wind, flower, snow, moon. The three crests on the map seem to match with these pretty well, strengthening the argument that these three are indeed the three houses mentioned in the title. Unfortunately, the first kanji, wind, does seem to be the oddball. I have no idea what it could mean. Now that we've established where these three are from, just who are they?
Why, they are aristocrats, my dear boy.
First, Edelgard von Hrasfelger. Why do Fire Emblem names gotta be so complicated? She has stunning purple eyes, beautiful white hair, and a red cape over her shoulder. As an Adrastia aristocrat, a new unit type, she wields axes and swords as her main weapons. We also see and hear the most from her, so I imagine she plays the biggest role out of the three.
I bet she's a dragon, a big purple dragon.
Well, as far as we know, no, she is not a dragon. But you never know, I suppose.
Who's to say we're not all dragons?
Edelgard also narrates a bit in the video, from banter on the battlefield to giving some important exposition. But we'll save that for later on. One more thing I want to point out is how elegantly Edelgard uses her axe. One hand, one strike, twirls it like a baton. She's proof that axes can be just as elegant as swords. Beautiful. Next is Dmitri Alexander Bladad, Kill Me, a lance-wielding player-controlled character from the Kingdom of Fergus. Blonde hair, blue eyes, strong. Nice guy, good with kids. We don't have any confirmation that Dmitri is actually an aristocrat. However, there is one more clue besides his name that supports this. During his attack phase, you can see his sword on his hip, implying he can use two weapons like Edelgard. Why does a lance wielder need a sword if he never uses it? That's Smash 4 Ganondorf levels of dumb. Because of that, as well as his name appearing on the map, we can assume he's an aristocrat. Finally, we have Claude von Regen, a name I can pronounce, representing Leicester. He's a black-haired, green-eyed archer, which is really refreshing because we have never had an archer as a main character. Betrayal! Now, I assume he's an aristocrat as well due to his name being on the map, but I don't see a sword anywhere on him, so maybe he only uses a bow? I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and say he'll wield a bow and a sword. I'm probably gonna be wrong, aren't I? On the Japanese website, the trio are deemed vital to Three Houses' story. What role they play is unclear, but it must have something to do with their houses or families. The trailer, however, does focus on Edelgard quite a bit, so maybe she plays a more pivotal role. As you've probably already heard by now, this is our player protagonist, Bleth. Nothing too special about him as of yet, although he does look very serious in this new critical hit animation.
Happiness is only an illusion.
It's unclear whether or not he'll be customizable like Robin and Corrin, or have a set design like Adol in the Ys series. Actually, we know very little about Beleth aside from him using a sword and his occupation. During the trailer, Edelgard, refers to the cyan-haired avatar as her teacher, and asks him what skills she should focus on for the mock battle ahead. She literally calls him sensei in Japanese, in case you wanted more clarification.
He's also a dragon teacher.
What? No, he's not a dragon as far as we can tell. But every teacher does need a school to teach at, and what do you know? Here it is! Welcome to My War Academia, Boku no Senso Academia for you weebs out there. We have everything a normal school needs. Books, chalkboards, quills, the never-ending pressure to succeed only to realize none of this will help you survive in the real world. Waifus! It's all here! While this hasn't been confirmed, I believe the hub world for this game will be a castle with an academy run by the Church of Seiros, the state religion if you will. According to the Three Houses fact sheet, the church exercises great power over the land of Fodlan, and the Japanese website says many of the people of Fodlan live under the teachings of Seiros. If that's the case, perhaps high-ranking families from all over Fodlan send their children to Beleth's Academia to study. This would explain why Edelgard, Dimitri, and Claude, aristocrats from 3 different countries, are similarly dressed and on the battlefield together. They are going to the same school, studying the art of war. The color of their cape, the biggest difference, indicates what region they are from. It could also be the color of the house they belong to in the school, a la Harry Potter style, although instead of a sorting hat, you're put into a house based on the region you're from. Granted, none of this is confirmed, but the fact that you're named teacher and you're in a classroom setting makes this a solid theory in my eyes. Of course, we can't quite figure out where this takes place, but I have some theories. Theory 1! Somewhere in Adrastia. When you first see the hub world, you can see red banners with budding flower crests on the path, as well as on the cathedral entrance. Inside, we see the crest carved into the pillars. Not only does this imply a connection between the Herzogger, Adrastia, and the Church of Seiros, but also that the school could be located within Adrastia borders. This also means Edelgard is basically studying in her hometown. Here's my issue with my own theory. At the end of the trailer, Edelgard promises she will return to here. While it's very vague as to what here is, let's assume she means the school. Why would it be a big deal if she left the school? She lives just down the street. Granted, she could be leaving on a journey, but by leaving Beleth, we can't see her grow on the journey. That's no fun. Theory 2! In the mountainous region of Bargmak. Okay, now you're just making names up. This seems like the perfect place for a school that is meant to connect the separate houses, right slab dab in the middle. And the Big Mac environment looks like it matches the map more than Adrastia. Of course, if Bigumaku is the location of the school, the cathedral with the budding flower symbols might seem out of place. But not necessarily. The Church of Seiros would still control the castle, just like they control most of the continent, so it makes sense to have flower buds everywhere. However, that implies that Hrasvelgr and the Church of Seiros are connected no matter what because of the flower bud. My final prediction is this. The school will be part of the Church of Seiros, but it won't be at the headquarters. They won't be in the same location. If headquarters is in Bargmak, the school will be in Adrastia somewhere, and vice versa. In fact, my final prediction is the church headquarters will be in Bargmak. If the church controls Fodlan, it would make sense if the headquarters is located in the middle. Therefore, Beleth's school would be in Adrastia.
Such a brutal, irrational world we live in.
However, I think Big Mama is not just headquarters to the Church of Seiros. The area holds historical significance as well. In particular, the scene depicted in this painting and the battle from the beginning of the trailer.
First, the painting.
The Japanese website confirms that this image has deep relation with the Church of Seiros, so keep that in mind as we look it over. In the center, we have a kneeling woman dressed in white holding a sword. Above her, a flying white dragon and the godlike woman. It's safe to assume this godlike woman is the goddess worshipped by the Church of Seiros. The way the white dragon and the goddess are drawn, with the goddess faded behind the dragon, could imply that they are the same being.
Dragon!
However, it's hard to tell if the woman's hair is green like a Manakite or black. She also has feather butt wings that look nothing like dragon wings, but maybe the artist in Fodlan took some creative liberties? Although, Milla's hair in Echoes does take the shape of wings, so maybe the same thing is happening here. Wait a minute. Surrounding the woman in white are a line of priests and a large crowd of spectators. Behind the crowd, a mountain range, probably Bigumaku. In the purple and white sky, we see 4 flying creatures, besides the white dragon of course. 3 wyverns or dragons, and 1 griffin. Could this painting depict a ceremony performed by Seiros? After all, a woman tells the story of Seiros' revelation from the goddess, and this could be that moment. Moving on to the medieval knights versus Scottish Vikings battle, a woman in white stands alone, almost calmly. She has green hair, golden armor, a golden crown or headpiece with dragon wings, and a flower in her hair. Green hair! Must be a dragon! Okay, look, not everything has to be a dragon in Fire Emblem, okay? I mean, maybe she could be a Manakite, but that's besides the point. She looks more like a spectator than anything else. Although, she must be important as we see in the next scene a soldier protect her from a Viking attack. We then get a close-up of her blank expression as mud is flung in the air. If you can't tell by now, the woman from the painting and the woman in white are wearing the same outfit. White cloak, white dress, gold armor, etc. Does that make this Seiros? Maybe, but this could also be someone in the future performing the ceremony as the new leader of the church, the white and gold armor being the ceremonial clothing. Later on in the trailer, we see the woman in white picking up a sword with a jagged edge on one side. She hugs the sword and speaks to it. This sword obviously is very important to her. But why? Well, we see this sword later in the trailer, except this time it's wielded by old man Viking King over here. Surprisingly, he's not your average swordsman. The sword stretches out into a sword whip with red energy flowing through it. With one swing, the Viking King decimates a portion of the enemy soldiers. Now, could the woman in white be mourning the Viking King's death? Not likely. She is clearly on the opposite side of the Vikings. I think she's mourning because of the sword itself. Similar to Mart's falchion, I bet this sword whip is made from the fang of a divine dragon, potentially the goddess's fang. Why the Viking King had it? I don't know. Maybe he bested the goddess or some other divine dragon and made a sword out of them. But that's just my theory. Either way, woman in white seems attached to the sword, which is probably the falchion. Lastly, we don't know exactly when this battle takes place, but there's some evidence that these cutscenes are in the past or during a memory sequence. During these scenes, we can see a weird filter that flickers black spots.
From my years of watching anime,
This is an effect usually used for flashbacks or someone telling a story. Nintendo even used it in Breath of the Wild with the memories. So this battle either happened long before Beleth started teaching, or is a retelling of a recent event. Plus, the painting is very much worn out with cracks, probably from old age, further hinting that the Viking battle could have taken place years ago.
Some believe the crests, tokens of the goddess's power, are necessary to maintain order.
As for what the painting and the battle mean, we need to do a little more searching, namely the emblems surrounding the center image. There are 21 crests, and you can clearly see the flower bud, spark, and crescent moon from the map. Since these emblems or crests are associated with a family name, that could mean the other 18 are as well. The only problem with that are the Vikings. If each house has a crest, then we should be able to see it on their armor. Nope! Instead, we have a completely new symbol that we can see on the Viking King's shoulder.
Why did you have to go and mess it up?
That said, I still think these crests are going to play a big role in Three Houses. In the trailer, we hear Edelgard say to Beleth, some believe the crests, tokens of the goddess' power, are necessary to maintain order. So perhaps the 21 crests were given to Seiros in the image depicted here. Another possibility is you need the 21 crests to perform the ritual they are performing. Interestingly, Edelgard in Japanese says some believe the crests are needed to control or restrain Fodlan. Whatever these crests are, they possess a lot of power, enough to control an entire continent. Edelgard then straight up says the crests are the cause of Fodlan's suffering. I imagine it's because kingdoms are fighting over them, and that's what we have happening here. The Vikings are trying to fight back against the Church of Seiros, who have control over all of Fodlan. And maybe that's why our main trio goes to study at Balet's Academy, to either prepare for war with the Vikings, or to learn about enemy kingdoms. My theory is that gathering the 21 crests creates the game's version of the Fire Emblem. I have no clue what it does, but it will probably play an important role in Three Houses. Okay, time out. Please tell me Three Houses is a placeholder name. It sounds like such a lame title. Like someone was brainstorming name ideas while looking out the window. Three Houses. Perfect. Plus, I think half the fanbase mistook it for Fire Emblem Tree Houses during the reveal.
You want to come play in my treehouse?
No thanks. I'm already in trouble with the FBI. Hide me. I'm sure the name will grow on me, but I was hoping for something a little more impactful, and not so on the nose. Rant over. Going back to the crests, of the 21 crests, the flower bud is the most prominent. Like we said before, the flower bud is associated with Harasvagar and the Church of Seiros. It's found all over the cathedral, on Adrastia's banner, Edelgard's battle menu, a literal Iron Maiden. I'm kinda ticked that it's everywhere. What does it mean? Maybe the church started off in Harasvagar, or the Harasvagar house controls the church. I don't know. I can't make sense of it. Well, that was a waste of time.
Go ahead, give me orders. It's time to measure your worth as an instructor.
Now it's time for the nitty-gritty stuff. There are a good amount of changes to typical Fire Emblem gameplay, albeit mostly to the UI. Starting with our first battle, the battle menu has changed quite a bit aesthetically. The individual boxes almost look like flashcards, with each one having a hole on the left corner. It's almost like they're bound by a ring. The pointer is even a quill. If that's not hitting at school, I don't know what is. In fact, this very battle may be part of Edelgard's training I mentioned earlier. You can also see the budding flower crest in the background of all the flashcards, except the equip and items options. Perhaps this indicates which move will end your turn. In this menu, Edelgard has several actions she can take. Apart from standard attack, we have magic, combo arts, formation, equip, items, and wait. Out of these actions, magic, combo arts, and formation bring up some interesting possibilities. Formation must have to deal with the troops that follow each unit into battle, which we'll see in a second. The troop formation you choose might be another way to attack, or be a new weapon triangle-like aspect. Combo arts? I'm not sure. Are these like combat arts and echoes? Maybe, but I have a different theory. What if instead of partnering with units like in Awakening and Fates, combo arts are attacks you can make with nearby allies? The strength of the attack depends on the bond with your ally, and the more you use combo arts, the stronger the support level. After all, combo literally means combination.
No duh, Sherlock.
Can't you?
There's nothing to straight up prove this, but on the English fact sheet, it confirms you can build relationships with other units. Whether this is romantic or not remains to be seen. But relationships could imply supports, so the strength of your support affects your combo arts. Maybe. Unfortunately, we don't have much info on that front. Next is magic, an attack option usually reserved for tome wielders. But Edelgard doesn't hold any tomes, so why does she have an option for magic? One reason could be you don't need tomes to do magic anymore, merely sacrificing your health to use it, like in Echoes. Another possibility could be that either aristocrats or just Edelgard are given unique healing magic like Micaiah's sacrifice from Radiant Dawn. But why call it magic when it's just one healing move? Guess we have to wait and see. Alright, let's quickly finish off what we see here. Edelgard is a level 3 unit, so unless this is just a placeholder level, this training occurs at the beginning of the game. On the right, we see that weapon durability returns, and the old Fire Emblem fans wept tears of joy. Below that, we have battle data. Nothing too out of the ordinary here, albeit a few name changes. END equals endurance or defense. RSL equals resilience or resistance. Not sure the reason for the change, apart from it sounding a little more mature. The one stat here that looks new is AS. For the life of me, I can't figure this one out. So I did what every gaming YouTuber does and scoured forums for clues. From what I can gather, this is attack speed. The AS could depend on the speed of the unit plus the weight of the weapon. Why didn't I think of that? Granted, this could be a different stat, but I find attack speed to be the most probable. After confirming your weapon, the menu transitions to the Fire Emblem staple battle information. Here you can toggle through your weapons without leaving this screen. Thank you! And also see which skills are active. Above Edelgard's name, we can see the skill Vantage, and later on we see what might be Wrath during Beleth's attack. During the battle sequence, we get our first glimpse at the troops that accompany every unit. They mimic the commanding unit's attack, but only focus in on the surrounding troops. You can see here that troops on both sides are exactly the same, and we see this throughout the trailer. The only time it changes is when a mage attacks, but they still wear similar attire to normal troops.
So take your first step. It's now or never.
These next points are details so minor, I couldn't fit them into the other sections. That said, I think they're at least worth a mention. When the trailer first opens, you can hear chimes softly playing the Fire Emblem theme in the background. It almost acts as a clue to fans that, yes, this is a Fire Emblem game. As the trailer continues, however, you notice the chimes slowly being replaced with quiet chanting, deep, demonic chanting. As it continues, a female voice joins in, and the voices grow louder and louder until the orchestra comes in. Chanting from the Church of Seros? Why so evil? Either way, it's creepy. Next, you'll notice the Fodlan map is aesthetically similar to past Fire Emblem games, like Shadows of Valentia, Awakening, the Tellius games, etc., and not like a Google Maps screenshot. Oh, fates. But that's where the similarities end. Fodlan itself seems to be completely new, as the continent doesn't match with any other world maps, and uses city names and crests unique to the area. While the map pans, a woman starts to tell a story about the divine Seros receiving a gift from the goddess. It's not clear who the speaker is, but I imagine it's the woman in white. She sounds like she's teaching a sermon, as her voice is very echoey. Maybe she's preaching to a crowd in this cathedral. Another thing to note, in the English trailer, the woman sounds wise and reverent. In the Japanese trailer, however, the woman sounds a little more motherly and maybe slightly obsessive. Whoever this woman turns out to be, she's definitely devoted to the church. When you select a unit in battle, red lines from the enemy units show up on the map. These indicate what the enemy unit is likely to attack, and we can see the red lines change when Edelgard moves. All eyes are on her.
And rightfully so.
Interestingly, when Edelgard moves, instead of following the squares, she takes the quickest route there. A small but most welcome change. In these battle sequences, we see glimpses of potential future party members, based on their portraits. However, they don't match the model on the battlefield. This is especially true for Hilda, who goes from bright pink to brown hair. Weird. Also, the units in Edelgard's party don't appear to change, but since Edelgard is still level 3, this might be the same training battle. Another very small detail, we can see Dimitri chilling in the cathedral, perhaps praying to the goddess for help on his next test. I'm such a jerk teacher. Lastly is the color purple. Purple is a running theme throughout this trailer, from the color of water on the map to Edelgard's eyes. I actually thought about devoting a whole section to the purple theme, until I realized maybe I'm looking too deep into this. Purple in most countries, including Japan, represents aristocracy, which Three Houses seems to be centered on. But there isn't much meaning to the color after that. Wisdom, magic, power, spirituality, ambition, all possible meanings behind the color purple. Fate's Conquest also had a lot of purple, but the theme for Birthright and Conquest was Dawn versus Dusk. I don't think dusk is the theme for Three Houses. The color feels a little more subtle this time around.
Glad I didn't devote an entire section to that.
I will return here someday, my teacher. Promise me.
Finally, we can talk about My Little Manakete.
It's Tiki! It's Tiki, dragon!
Yes, she's clearly a dragon. If the green hair and pointy eyes don't give it away, the symbol for dragon's breath is engraved on the throne. However, I don't think this is Tiki. I mean, it could be, but do you really think they go back to young Tiki after awakening?
I know I don't want to.
Granted, this scene of a slumbering Manakete is very similar to Tiki's state of slumber, but their designs are different enough that I think this is a new sleeping Manakete. Also, we're on a new continent. Surely that prevents Tiki from coming to Fodlan, right? Anyway, the throne room she's sleeping in has a green glow, and we can see this green glow in other moments, once during the title screen and once in the Iron Maiden room. I think the sleeping Monokete is in this church building somewhere. She could be a dragon the Church of Saros is keeping for themselves. Then again, this is all mostly a hunch. While we watch the Monokete sleep, Eligard asks Beleth one last favor. Don't forget me. She promises to return here someday. Where is she going? Did the church catch her trying to rebel against the crests? I'm also not entirely sure where here is. It could be the school, or it could be some important place we don't know yet. But why would Beleth forget about Eligard unless she planned on being gone a long time?
Curious. Very curious.
And that's everything marginally important I got out of the Three Houses reveal trailer. I'm excited to see Fire Emblem make the return to console gameplay, and I don't think they're holding back any punches. If I have one worry, it's the graphics and resolution. They're a little bit like last gen, but that's really not a big deal for me. If the story is engaging and gameplay fun, I'm good to go. Why does spring have to be so far away? I want to see more. I want to understand more. I want
more. When's it my turn to find out what these waifus are fighting about? Wish it was spring. Nintendo, please bring 3 houses.
Would you shut up? I'm trying to sleep.
I live here too, Mom.
Thank you so much for watching. Are you excited for Three Houses? Did you happen to catch anything I missed? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe for more. I'm sure more Fire Emblem videos will come out before release, so much speculation and fun will be had by all. Also, consider donating to our Patreon. A little goes a long way.
Goodbye, you good people.